One of the questions I want to lead with right off the bat is AI worth all the hype that it's getting right now for newcomers to the game who might be the boomers of the audience? No offense. What's the deal?
Yeah, it's a great question. So AI is all the hype, and deservedly so. I've had conversations with people that want to make a conscious decision not to integrate AI into their workflows or their business or their way of working because they believe that it's a bit of a fad, that it's hype technology, that it's not all it's cracked up to be. But unfortunately, I don't think that that's the case. I think that it is very much what it's cracked up to be. So what we do at Stob AI is we integrate AI into workflows and process on the platform of make.com. So the way that we do that is you have software within your business. That software has several APIs. Those APIs can connect to different pieces of software. And effectively, make.com is an automation platform. It exists in the middle of these different pieces of software. So there are other platforms that have existed for years. I think If This Then That was probably the first big one. And then Zapier, and now there's an absolute host of them, everything from like Gumloop, N8N, and make.com as well. And what makes N8N and make.com particularly interesting is that they're really cutting edge in terms of the capabilities and the technology that they enable everyday people to be able to use, but they're very simplistic in their design. So make.com in particular is really like a no-code platform. You don't need to be able to code to develop in AI.
Okay. So for my benefit, to make sure I'm tracking this correctly, and for the audience members, probably just my parents, who might not understand this, I'm going to try to reverse engineer what you just said. So organizations, large or small, even this podcast, I use multiple pieces of software. Software is computer programs that help us do things like record this podcast. I'm using riverside.fm. That's a piece of software.
Right.
So in any size business, they use software to help run their organization. If you're recording a podcast, like you're using riverside.fm. If it's a large podcast and you have employees, you're using some sort of HR software, some sort of payroll software, some sort of, if you're selling to customers, you have a CRM system. So those are the different pieces of software that organizations leverage to run their business. Now, it's my understanding that how companies interact with that software is mostly like a manual process. It takes a human to type things into it. It takes a human to log into riverside.fm, hit record like we're doing right now. But what you do to help business owners out is to leverage different AI tools, also software, to help automate some of those manual processes and connect some of those systems together to help the business run more effectively and efficiently. Did I get that correct?
That is absolutely correct. So I'm glad that you've mentioned that you're using Riverside FM as a piece of software, because Riverside FM has what they call an open API, an open application programming interface. So what that means is that when two pieces of software talk to each other, they talk to each other through this thing called the API. Riverside has an open API. So what that means is that we can extract the data from this podcast. So immediately that gives us opportunity to do different things. This voice recording has a transcript. It has text that we can write out. What we could do, both practically and theoretically, is we could have the AI take the transcript the moment that this call ends and then create a blog and upload that to our website. That can be completely automated with AI. And effectively, that's what we do. We help people turn a manual process into something that is completely automated, turning a business that has several pieces of software that are usually quite fragmented, that do different things such as invoicing or CRM systems, whatever that may be, and then integrate them into an integrated business. So you'd have fragmented pieces of software, connect them together through the API, do different processes, do different workflows, things that you would usually do manually are now automated. So it creates an integrated business rather than something that's fragmented. So we can transition a business out of being manual into a business that's automatic.
Great. I'm tracking on that. I hope the listeners are too. The next part of this, I wanted to clarify. So now we've automated some manual processes. Our business is now running more effectively and efficiently, which is great. But what are the benefits of this? How does this help? If we're a for-profit organization, right, we want to maximize our profitability. And there's a couple ways to do that in my mind. Mostly without getting too nuanced, there's two triggers you can pull: decrease expenses or increase revenue, right? Though I guess that's the ultimate benefit. But like you helping an organization integrate AI into their processes, what do they get out of that other than just that?
Well, there's two parts to that answer. So firstly, they get their time back. And then secondly, they don't have to use the tools. So the first part is because, well, I guess they're somewhat inextricably linked, but if you don't have to use the tool, then you've got your time, and that time acts as like a lever on your cash flow. If you've got more time, you've got more time, energy, that lever on your cash flow, which is effectively growth because there's a multiplier. So if we give you your time back, like an arbitrary number of 10 pieces of time, and you've got $100, you've got $1,000. But if you've got no time in your business and you're creating $1,000 and you've only got 2 units of arbitrary time, then you've only got $200. So we're effectively able to create that additional margin, that's growth, that scale in that business through removing those manual tasks that humans would usually have to do. See, most businesses, even in 2025, are stuck in the sort of AI as an assistant phase, okay, where we have to use ChatGPT. And what we really aim to do at Stop AI is move businesses through the levels to become fully automated so that the business doesn't need a human to operate or needs less humans to operate, which enables the business to scale without increasing the headcount.